The Pentagon's actions reflect its desire to protect the defense industry. So if you're the biggest arms dealer in the world, you're essentially an arms bazaar representing U.S. Defense companies, and these defense companies tell you that the only source for critical materials is China and there's no other alternative. You're going to look the other way. And the Pentagon did look the other way for 2 decades. And for over a decade, in what I would say in direct violation of the spirit of the law. What they did is really disingenuous. The Pentagon, there was a piece of legislation passed to protect the U.S. defense industry, and it defined critical materials at the point of alloys. Well, this is really disingenuous, right? Because everyone knew that the alloys were made with Chinese metals, and they all played along, and they all pretended it wasn't happening. And when they got caught, they essentially deployed waivers, which are, essentially a permission slip to get around the law. So this is a very long standing with the Pentagon. And you can see again the Pentagon's indifference to a solution when you evaluate their refunding of the Mountain Pass mining project. This is a mining project that's gone bankrupt twice. This is a mining project that literally defrauded the Pentagon, lied to the Pentagon about all of its capabilities. It lied to the Pentagon about its ability to produce the heavy rare earths. It lied to the Pentagon about its ability to be fully integrated and make metals and magnets. Well, 2015, it was a tremendous bankruptcy. And then some venture capital guys came along, swept the pieces back up into a pile, walked over to the Pentagon and pitched the exact same deal to the Pentagon. Nothing's changed. And if you want to be realistic, the market is actually much, much more challenging than it was over the other period. So the Pentagon is bet U.S. national security on a 2-time loser, soon to be a 3-time loser. While China, who's always looking far down the road, is helping develop and nurture relationships with super low-cost producers in Asia and Africa. And these producers in Asia and Africa are capable of producing rare earth concentrates, oxides that are far more valuable than what Mountain Pass can produce. In fact, the value of Mountain Pass's ore is 1/10 the value of what comes out of China, and it's about 1/16 what comes out of a place like Myanmar. So, who in their right mind thinks that a company like that's going to survive? The advantage China has is that if a resource has some uranium or some thorium in it, there is a rational mechanism for pulling those out and storing them safely without undermining the economic viability of the mining company. So that's actually the big advantage, because there's no chemistry that China has that the US can't replicate. The big advantage is China's allowed to go after super high value rare earth deposits because they are willing to manage the thorium and uranium issues. Now, for all the American viewers, sure, were there problems in the past? Unbelievable problems, right? But the Chinese have done a fantastic job ratcheting up and on the environmental issues in mining. And it's like any other country that went from being a low-income country to a high-income country. Well, when you first walk out the door, things are a little messy, and as you get further down the path, you actually start doing a good job. And I'm impressed with the changes that have happened in China. China can manage these issues, and so can the United States. But our public, their fears are supercharged. So to open up a mind and act responsibly is never enough, because you can never satisfy them. So this is a big problem. I worked with Senator Rubio and Congressman Tipton on a bill to solve this problem. And it's a very rational solution to the problem. It also solves some of America's unacknowledged environmental issues. So it really cleans up current mining. The bill is not popular among junior rare earth mining companies because they fear that a lot of resources that are currently disposed of can come into the value chain and they can't compete with them. And 12 years ago, I went to the Pentagon. I said, here's how you solve the problem. They bet on a losing mining project twice. It will fail again. And by the time that whole cycle goes through, there'll be no reason to save a rare earth mining industry here, because there'll be no technologies in the US anymore, because they'll have all moved to China for access. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating being an American citizen and watching your government flounder and fail, and they're powerless to implement well-rounded solutions, because they're trying to make everybody happy, and that everybody is some private interest trying to inflate its stock price, or an environmental group trying to make a lot of noise to raise funding. So these are fundamental problems that Americans face, and the Chinese government is a much more direct system, and I think the population responds to a good economy and growing standards of living. Over here, it's very different.